Senator McConnell, was what the president did last night the right thing to do?
I wasn't there, so I didn't see exactly what happened. You think you could do better? I mean, we all can. I mean, every day I could do better. I try.
What the president did, the peaceful protesters that were dispersed with tear gas, he then walked across the street to the church. Was that the right thing to do?
Didn't really see it.
Was clearing the protesters an abuse of power? You don't have any comment on what happened at the White House last night?
On the what?
The gassing of White House protesters, do they have a right?
You know, I didn't watch that closely enough to know what happened there.
I did not think that what we saw last night was the American right.
So, Alexei, just a little list here. Kentucky, Wisconsin, Kansas, Florida, Utah, Alaska. The voters all there, it's their business because they sent all those senators to Washington. Is that answer and or the lack of an answer entirely going to be cool with the electorate going forward?
We hear the refrain time and again in this moment that, you know, if you're silent, you're on the side of the oppressor. That doesn't just apply to what's happening with George Floyd. That applies to what the president is doing to the American people, what he is saying to the American people, and how the folks who are working under him are treating the American people who are exercising their First Amendment rights. It's not just the silence from Republican allies and senators on the Hill when it comes to this, Brian. It's the words that are coming from the Trump campaign, who are asking journalists to retract and correct their stories that put the factual information out there that protesters, as you mentioned, your colleagues, Garrett Haake, Yamiche Alcindor at PBS and others, were tear gassed themselves yesterday while covering this. But the Trump campaign is going so far as to literally try to gaslight us into saying that we should retract and correct these stories because it simply was not true. That, plus Republican senators being silent on this entire issue, is something that voters are watching unfold in real time, and it's something that is not sitting well with the American people. Polls show time and again that a majority of Americans think that not just the anger behind the protests, but the manifestation of the protests are justified for the American people. That's not what you hear coming from President Trump, and that's not what you hear in the silence from Senate Republicans.